The top stories: expert says transitional justice pivotal in healing past wounds of the society. And Cyclone Freddy returns, killing over 100 in Malawi and Mozambique. Hello and thank you for joining us. You're watching Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Tabitha John. Stay with us. An expert says transitional justice remains pivotal to provide remedy to victims and enhance trust between and among members of the society, over and above helping protect human rights. Approached by ATV, Miskanao Mulugeta, a member of the Transitional Justice Working Group, reiterated that in the case of Ethiopia, the past has to be addressed with transitional justice to bring about the desired accountability. Tegus Nisa has the following account.
Transitional justice aims to provide recognition to victims, enhance the trust of individuals in state institutions, reinforce respect for human rights, and promote the rule of law as a step towards reconciliation and the prevention of new violations. Talking to ETV, Miskanao Mulugeta, Transitional Justice Working Group member, reiterated that in Ethiopia's case, the past has to be addressed with transitional justice and the sense of reconciliation and accountability as well.
So, in Ethiopia, the basic assumption is our country is in transition. There has been widespread, numerous human rights violations, some perpetrated by state actors, some perpetrated by non-state actors. We have had widespread conflicts that have resulted in a lot of human rights violation. And in order to transition to, like you said, a country with rule of law, justice, this past must be addressed and must be addressed not only with reconciliation, but also with accountability. So an approach like transitional justice gives you a whole sum of these components.
He went on saying that the goal of transitional justice in Ethiopian context is to redress the need of the victims.
Like I said, transitional justice is a process that has been tried in many different contexts, so we have to adopt it to our own context. Transitional justice processes are effective if they are nationally led, domestically driven. So we have to bring out what a lot of stakeholders feel about these different options. So the goal of this process is getting inputs on the transitional justice options. But the goal of the transitional justice process itself will be justice, will be satisfying the need for victims' redress, reconciliation, truth-seeking, and then it will thoroughly be defined by the process itself. So I think it must be clear that the process we're now undertaking is a preparatory process of a policy which leads to a kickstart of an actual transitional justice policy being informed by this consultation.
Miskanao called on every stakeholder to take part their inputs in every platform.
So hopefully there will be a widespread consultation, and hopefully we get the inputs and everybody participates. And again, this is, I want to reiterate what I said earlier about the call for every stakeholder to take this opportunity seriously. Transitional justice is a very serious undertaking. It's a very important undertaking. I believe we shouldn't fail again on this. If we make it work, I think it will solve a lot of problems in our country. So every stakeholder, opposition parties, I urge them to use the opportunity to get their inputs, but also to send their inputs in writing, to challenge us, to argue with the options, to say this doesn't work, this would work. And then, we have to seize this opportunity that this policy-making process is genuinely consultative. And in order to make sure that happens, then we need an active participation of the stakeholders you mentioned.
It is to be recalled that Ethiopia signed a peace agreement in November 2022 in Pretoria, South Africa. And in January, the government published a draft document on policy options for transitional justice.
A delegation led by Speaker of the House of Federation, Agnew Teshagor, is taking part in the 146th Assembly of the Interparliamentary Union (IPU) in Manama, Bahrain. The assembly is being held from 11th to 15th March 2023 and is hosted by the Parliament of Bahrain. Teshagor addressed the assembly on a range of subjects, including efforts to ensure lasting peace in Ethiopia, effect of COVID-19 on Ethiopia's economy, climate change-induced drought in the region, and environmental protection initiatives. He also briefed participants on the steps taken by the government to ensure lasting peace in the country by establishing the All-Inclusive National Dialogue Commission and bringing an end to the conflict in northern Ethiopia through the Pretoria Peace Agreement. The 146th Assembly of Interparliamentary Union provides opportunities for the community of parliaments to meet and facilitate the dialogue aimed at strengthening parliamentary efforts within the framework of the general theme. Tourism fetched a whopping $257.5 million to Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa. The amount was generated by tourists who visited the metropolis over the past 6 months. This came here today when Mayor of the city presented a half-year performance report to the 138-member Addis Ababa City Council, which began its regular session. According to the Mayor Adanecha Abebe, 1,224,000 foreign tourists have visited Addis Ababa during the last 6 months. In her report, the mayor also indicated that the city administration has undertaken successful activities in fully implementing the digital identification system. The mayor further disclosed that the city administration has created permanent jobs for 247,000 residents and benefited more than 37,000 residents from temporary jobs during the first half of the Ethiopian budget year. State Minister for Foreign Affairs Misganu Arega met and held talks with Robert Shirkin-Tong, Indian ambassador to Ethiopia and the African Union. According to Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the two sides discussed bilateral and multilateral matters of mutual concern. The ministry added that during the conversation, Ambassador Arega stated that trade, investment and development cooperation are all parts of Ethiopia and India's extensive economic and commercial ties, which have transformed into a comprehensive development partnership. Indian ambassador to Ethiopia Robert Shirkin-Tong, for his part, said that this year has marked the 75th anniversary of the diplomatic relationship between Ethiopia and India, recalling that the two countries of their past achievements and the areas they still need to improve to strengthen ties. The Ethiopian Investment Commission (EIC) and Pakistani investors have signed a memorandum of understanding for the establishment of pharmaceutical, packaging and industrial park development project, according to EIC. Speaking at the signing ceremony, Ethiopian Investment Commission Commissioner Lelise Neme reaffirmed the commitment of the government to strengthen Pakistan's investments in Ethiopia. She indicated the significance of the MOU towards establishing a long-term collaboration between the EIC and Pakistani investors. On the occasion, the EIC disclosed the development of the Pakistan-Ethiopia Friendship Industrial Park, which is planned to be built with a capital of $100 million. In its social media post, the Commission indicated the envisaged projects, which aim to establish investment projects in the pharmaceutical and packaging product manufacturing in Qilinto and Bole Lemi industrial parks. Ethiopia has subsidized 21 billion birr for the purchase of fertilizers during this Ethiopian crop season of 2015-16, according to the Ministry of Agriculture. Briefing journalists about the activities to supply the market with agricultural inputs and machinery today, Agriculture Minister Girma Amante underlined that efforts are well underway to sustain the achievements registered in agricultural production. According to Amante, 12.8 million quintals of fertilizer have been bought for the 2015-16 crop season to increase agricultural production. With the 2 million quintals remaining from last year, some 15 million quintals of fertilizer will be supplied to farmers for the rainy season irrigation, Belg and the main rainy season. Out of the stated amount, over 30% of the fertilizer has reached the port of Djibouti and about 90% of the transported to regional central warehouse, he said. The government is subsidizing fertilizer in order to alleviate the burden of farmers facing sharp increase in fertilizer prices due to the Russia-Ukraine war. The minister revealed that 15 billion birr was similarly subsidized in the last crop season. The subsidy increased to 21 billion birr this crop season due to various reasons, including transportation and foreign exchange. The World Health Organization (WHO), in partnership with the Africa Center for Disease Control, Africa CDC, has mapped out 6 countries for vaccine manufacturing. According to Amref Health Africa, the countries identified include Rwanda, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, and Algeria. Adelheid Onyango, WHO Director of Universal Health Coverage in Africa, said the establishment of manufacturing plants will also guarantee a fight against future pandemics, as reported by Amref. Onyango added that the WHO is working towards improving regulatory capacities for the countries through Africa Medicines Agency, which was established last year. Ahmed Ogwal, the acting director of Africa CDC, said setting up of the plants will prepare Africa for future pandemics, according to Amref. Ogwal added that Africa CDC also has plans of establishing diagnostic laboratories and therapeutic services. Deputy Director General and Head of the Department of Technical Cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, disclosed that the agency has expressed its interest to enhance cooperation with Africa in civilian nuclear technology. The International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, representatives of nearly 40 African countries, including the Africa Regional Cooperative Agreement for Research, Development and Training related to Nuclear Science and Technology, AFRA, are participating in the 2023 Annual National Liaison Officers Meeting here in Addis Ababa. Kasahun Chani has more from the Ethiopian News Agency.
The annual meeting being held under the theme Paradigm Shift is aimed at enhancing the technical collaboration between African countries and IAEA. The 5-day meeting is expected to emphasize the significance of change and innovation to achieve sustainable development goals through nuclear science and technology, it was learned. Speaking at the event, Deputy Director General and Head of the Department of Technical Cooperation, IAEA, said the meeting aims to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the technical cooperation program in Africa. Significant progress has been made in the region in recent years, he said, adding it is essential that Africa continue its efforts to develop and implement a program of maximum benefit to the country's socio-economic development.
The agency continues to provide its support for the newcomer countries in nuclear energy, especially SMR, Small Modular Reactor, through inter-regional project and also some countries in national project. It also contributes to global efforts to address climate change. I note that a growing number of African member states are focusing their attention on nuclear power, research reactor, and irradiation technology, and encourage you to take advantage of the support of the agency efforts in these areas.
Speaking at the event, Ethiopian Minister of Innovation and Technology Beleda Molla Saad, as a founding member of the IAEA since its establishment in 1957, Ethiopia through years has enhanced its collaboration with the agency. He further stated that Ethiopia is highly committed and strongly supported the mandates of the agency towards non-proliferation, nuclear safety, and promoting peaceful applications of nuclear science and technology for sustainable development.
The government of Ethiopia is committed for advancing nuclear science and technology for development, including exploring the potential of nuclear power for electric generation, and substantive measures are underway to establish the Center for Nuclear Science and Technology, CNST, through establishing an institute for sustainably manage the sector.
Director for the Division for Africa of the Department of Technical Cooperation also said their gathering will be vital to restore information and means which help them produce documents and resource-based management.
As you know, technical cooperation program is a shared responsibility that the agency, the International Atomic Agency, plays a role, but also this program belongs to you. We are here to help in terms of building capacities and capability for sustainable development.
The National License Officers and Afro-National Coordinators meeting will remain in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and will remain open until 17th of March and expected to adopt concrete measures and actions to further improve the planning and formulation of the next technical cooperation cycle for 2024-2025, it was noted.
Beyond ensuring connectivity services throughout the country, the state giant Ethio Telecom claims it has been actively engaged in digitizing daily societal business activities. The state's 128-year-old monopoly has also been ensuring digital and enhancing telecom services to its esteemed customers, in particular by being a leading provider of digital solutions. In order to actualize and improve the best customer experience, the Ethio Telecom and Samsung company have formed a partnership to supply various Samsung Galaxy mobile handsets. Here is Kasaun Chane for more on that.
In collaboration with Samsung, Ethio Telecom staged the Galaxy S23 series launch event and formally began selling the Galaxy S23, Galaxy S23 Plus, and spectacular Galaxy S23 Ultra in Ethiopia.
Samsung Ultra na Samsung S23 Ultra.
Customers who purchase the Galaxy S23 Ultra from Ethio Telecom will receive a free pair of Galaxy Buds 2 valued at 11,300 Ethiopian birr, while those who purchase the S23 Plus and S23 will receive a free silicone cover valued at 1,200 birr. The price of the Galaxy S23 Ultra is 140,000 birr, and the Galaxy S23 is 105,000 birr, and the Galaxy S23 is 95,000 birr. The devices also come with a 24-month warranty and Samsung Care Plus, which guarantees that they are covered in the event of any unintentional damage.
In order to increase the market share in the East African market, the two companies will introduce the Epic Galaxy S23 line of handsets into the Ethiopian market. The amazing camera on the Samsung Galaxy provides users more opportunity to express their creativity, allowing them to make nightography videos that are really cinematic.
This partnership between Ethio Telecom and Samsung is a big partnership. And one of the things that we sat together and talked about is how to improve the lives of Ethiopian people to be able to enjoy, experience, and get to use flagship devices in this market. The S23 is our topmost product in our flagship devices. This we launched in 2023 on this month, on the same, and we have been going country by country doing official launches. Ethiopia is very important to Samsung, and Samsung has looked at how to reach the market, and one of our partners is Ethiopia Telecom.
According to the agreement, in order to balance performance and power for photography, videography, low latency gaming, and other users, the Galaxy S23 Ultra's graphics performance has been accelerated by more than 40%, and its performance has also been optimized by more than 40%. When real-time ray tracing enters the mainstream of mobile gaming, Galaxy S23 Ultra is prepared to support it in anticipation of the future of utmost digital realism. The technology that replicates and tracks every ray of light will enable users to perceive scenes that are substantially more lifelike. Samsung Galaxy is taking extra steps with the Galaxy S23 series to lessen its environmental effect without sacrificing quality or design, according to Ethio Telecom.